Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, which is the Heavenly Father, in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, Ba'ashem Merkah Quadash, which is the Holy Spirit, and salutations and peace and deliverance to the Akim out there laboring in truth and sincerity. And this lesson is pretty much, inspired by, something that recently happened to me today when I was at the library. And, pretty much I came across, this Jake that, pretty much started having a conversation, about as far as the homeless population here in Grand Rapids. And, I agree with some of the things that he had to say as far as, how they got things set up to where, it's for Jakes to fail around here as far as, trying to get back on their feet and stuff at these homeless shelter institutions. However, I made the attempt to bring, the truth to them as far as like, recommending them to, the main page or whatnot. And then I told them that it's not the way we go about bringing out the word as far as our manner of speech or things of that nature. He might find it offensive. So then we got into pretty much a long discussion or a long rant as far as him and his foolishness and his ideologies, so to speak, and he got into pretty much his rant and thinking that he can do everything on his own, pretty much, or that he don't need the Lord, because one of the things that was brought up was that the Lord controls your destiny and how you go about in the earth, So with that, I'm gonna start off with my first precept. Just bear with me for a moment. This is Proverbs 16:9. A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord Yahweh directeth his steps. All right, like I was trying to communicate to the guy that the Lord had directed your steps to pretty much have this conversation or this dialogue with me, because the Lord puts His Spirit on the men that He's dealing with through Yahweh Shai, and gave them the knowledge of this truth, so that way when they go out or when they minister somebody this truth, they can heed the instruction of the Lord, And of course he doubted that, and thought light of that, of course, and I pretty much had to bring out also that it's the Lord that directs our path, But his pride wouldn't allow him to see that, so it ended up taking a pretty much a turn to where it was like pretty much a waste of time, Alright. So a man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord Yahweh directeth his steps, because contrary to popular belief, we don't control our own destinies or, our own lives, Everything that the Most High has happened in the earth, pretty much He made it happen, Whether if it be you getting up in the morning or you not getting up in the morning, because there's people that die in their sleep, And that's just the prideful mindset, that our people got to get out of, And I think that's what I'm going to title this lesson is, pride is the downfall of the 2/3, And that's the reason why, one of the main reasons why, our people kept falling off and going into sin and wickedness and idolatry is because of, for one, that pride, as far as not wanting to heed on to the words and instructions of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai through his prophets, through his servants, This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 15. I'm going to start at verse 1. He that feareth the Lord will do good, and he that hath the knowledge of the law shall obtain her. So, if you fear Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, you're going to rehearse the righteous acts, and you're going to be, occupied in the law, statutes, and commandments. You're going to be studying, to keep your mind in remembrance of the Most High's ways, because that's a part of having that fear toward him, And as a mother shall she meet him and receive him as a wife married of a virgin. With the bread of understanding shall she feed him and give him the water of wisdom to drink. All right, and the she, that's pretty much talking about wisdom, He shall be stayed upon her and shall not be moved, and shall rely upon her and shall not be confounded. She shall exalt him above his neighbors, and in the midst of the congregation shall she open his mouth. He shall find joy and a crown of gladness, and she shall cause him to inherit an everlasting name. But foolish men shall not attain unto her, and sinners shall not see her. For she is far from pride, and men that are liars cannot remember her. All right. So, in order to attain wisdom of the wisdom and knowledge of this truth through Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai supping with you, you can't have pride and deceit within you, And that's what 2/3 of our people have. That's the reason why, when we out there on the highways and hedges, or like this situation that I'm describing, or that pretty much took place, you come across a Jake out in the world, and you try to minister to him this truth, to see if, the Lord may end up supping with him. They're too proud to receive it, And going back to, the word proud, basically they arrogant, which means to dispose to give oneself undue importance, aggressively haughty, They think too highly of themselves, that, oh, well, I don't have to listen to you because you're just another man, so I don't have to heed and follow on to your words because I think myself to be highly intelligent, or I myself have wisdom or understanding, And, that goes back to the world by wisdom knew not the Most High, because, man already thinks that they pretty much got it, like, 2/3 of our people who want to operate independently of the Most High, they think they already got it, when you don't got it. It says, 1 Corinthians 3:19, for the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Yahweh, for it is written, He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. And again, the Lord knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. Okay? So, pretty much like, the wisdom of this world is pretty much foolishness, because the wisdom of this world doesn't promote the wisdom and the righteousness of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, So, it's a vain thing to dwell on the wisdom of this world, This is First Corinthians 2. I'm gonna start at verse I'm gonna start at verse 6. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. But we speak the wisdom of the Most High in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which the Most High ordained before the world unto our glory. You know? So those that was chosen to receive the wisdom and the knowledge and the mystery of the scriptures, they were already ordained to receive this through Yahushua, you know, since the Most High laid the foundations of the heavens and the earth. So really, not everybody was meant to, you know, receive that mystery, but you know, me, you know, I was just kind of like in that spirit, you know, just being out there, you know, just like we do week in and week out, you know, fishing for the elect, you know. And I know that it's only Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you know, can pretty much bring a man to remembrance through hearing this truth, you know. And that was just one of those jakes that wasn't meant to get it, you know. Which none of the princes of this world knew, for had they known it, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. Right, because if they had received the knowledge and wisdom and understanding through the prophecies that even King David, not Salaki, not King David, but actually, yeah, King David as well as Moses, you know, spoke of Yahweh Shai, they wouldn't have crucified him, you know. They would have accepted him, you know. But as it is written, I have not seen nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which Yahweh hath prepared for them that love him. But the Most High have revealed them unto us by his Spirit, for the Spirit searcheth all things, yea, the deep things of the Most High. For what man knoweth the things of a man, save the spirit of man which is in him? Even so the things of the Most High knoweth no man, but the Spirit of the Most High. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit which is of the Most High, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of the Most High. Which things also we speak not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which the Holy Spirit teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. Alright? So, I mean, that's why this thing, you know, is given as you know, a portion of faith through the Spirit, and it's not given to every man. That's why every man can't receive this knowledge, you know. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of the Most High, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. But he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judged of no man. Alright? So, that's why, a carnal, natural nigga, can't receive this knowledge, Alright. This is Hosea chapter 7 verse 10. And the pride of Israel testifieth to his face, and they do not return to the Lord Yahweh their power, nor seek him for all this. As a matter of fact, let me read up above that. This is Hosea 7 and 9. Strangers have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not. Yea, gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knoweth not. Alright? I mean, for one, these heathens and these other nations are putting into hardcore captivity. And it says, and the pride of Israel testified to his face. Because for one, we cast it down in this low estate. You know, and they do not return to the Lord their power, nor seek him for all this. Yet our people is stricken and impoverished and been made low. Yet 2/3 of our people still will not seek Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai in their affliction. That's the reason why they gonna receive that harsh punishment, because of their pride. And it's their pride that pretty much keeps them from acknowledging their offense to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and seeking him in all their ways. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 8 verse 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. Okay? So, Most High is, pretty much going to bring down the haughtiness and the pride of, 2/3 of our people, and the pride of you heathens and you other nations as well, man. That's one thing, as far as this truth is concerned, it's better to not be proud, because when you proud, that's when the Lord will pretty much start to cast you down. You become unsavory to him. This is James chapter 4, starting at 6. But he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, Yahweh resisteth the proud, but giveth grace to the humble. Alright? So the Most High, is not with, pride and arrogancy. That's the mark of a fool, is, to be prideful and to be boastful, to be arrogant, And, he makes his dwelling with the humble, So, let me get my next precept. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, starting at verse 7. Pride is hateful before Yahweh and man, and by both doth one commit iniquity. So when you start, really overvaluing yourself, or thinking that, pretty much like, if you do a wicked act and, the Lord don't judge right then and there, that's pride. That's having that pride of life in you, Alright. This is verse I'm gonna skip down to verse 12. The beginning of pride is when one departeth from the Most High, and his heart is turned away from his Maker. Alright, because when you pretty much have that pride and that arrogancy, you start to doubt the fear of the Lord, and then that's when you start going off. You start willfully breaking the law, statutes, and commandments. For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that hath it shall pour out abomination. And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities, and overthrew them utterly. You know what's I mean, that word pride is a moniker for the LGBT community, you know, because pretty much they have pride and arrogancy and going against the ordinance of the Most High, you know, with this fag and freakism, you know, and just like Sodom and Gomorrah, that's how pretty much they're gonna be thrown in judgment, man. You know, so pretty much like when, as far as two-thirds of our people, man, you know, they have pride and that high esteem of themselves against, for one, against the truth and against the men of the Lord, you know. So, you know, that's the reason why they can't receive this truth, or receive the instruction of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And, you know, a full hates instruction, you know. This is Proverbs chapter 6, starting at verse 16. These 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, you know, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. Okay? I mean, the first, you know, is a proud look, you know. And continuing on, it says, a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren, you know. And pretty much when you have pride in you, that's when pretty much you create strife and you create contention. Like those that was once in the truth, there was so contention and discord amongst the brethren that's still laboring, you know, coming up to the common boards, you know, making their bullshit videos, you know. That's part of that pride and that arrogancy. Okay. I'm gonna get a couple more precepts, and I'm gonna go ahead and close this thing out. This is Proverbs 16 and 5. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Though hand join in hand, he should not be unpunished. Alright? So I mean that's 2 cuts, man. You know. The Lord hates the proud, you know. And though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, because you got 2/3 of our people that still want to be joined hand in hand with the so-called white man, because pretty much that goes back to the precept in I want to say 1 John, where it says they have gone in the way of Cain, the wicked one, you know. They follow after the wicked, you know. And the ways of the wicked seduceth them, you know. Why? Because their pride, you know, causes them to shun the counsel and the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So this is Nehemiah 9, and I'm going to start at verse 16. As a matter of fact, let me start up a little bit above that. Verse 13. Thou camest down also upon Mount Sinai, and spakest with them from heaven, and gavest them right judgments, and true laws, good statutes, and commandments. This was talking about our people when we was coming out of the land of Egypt, when Most High gave us the law, statutes, and commandments, and made a covenant with us through Moses, and made us known unto them the holy Sabbath, and thy holy Sabbath, and commandest them precepts, statutes, and laws by the hand of Moses thy servant, and gavest them bread from heaven for their hunger, and broughtest forth water for them out of the rock of their thirst, and promises them that they should go in to possess the land which thou hast sworn to give them. But they and our fathers have dealt proudly, and hardened their necks, and hearkened not to thy commandments. Alright? So, pretty much, when our people was in the land of Israel, and we had our own land, Most High, constantly punished us for our wickedness by sending us in various different captivities. For every time we come back to our land and sojourn in our land, in the land of Israel, when things would start to, pick back up and start going good again, we get proud and start going worshiping these idols again, and start doing wickedly, to the point where the Most High will have to punish us again. Going back to that precept, the beginning of pride is when one the beginning of pride is when one departs from the Most High. It says, verse 17, and refused to obey, neither were mindful of thy wonders that thou didst among them, but hardened their necks, and in their rebellion appointed a captain to return to their bondage. But thou art a power ready to pardon, and gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and forsookest them not. And that's the reason why the Most High remembered us in our captivities, just like He's remembering us now in our current captivity in Babylon, and throughout the four corners where Israel is spread at. That's why it's important, for those of you that's probably may have stumbled upon this video, whatever you may have learned previously, or the knowledge that you think you know before, is to forsake your pride and to heed on to this instruction. Okay, it says, yea, when they had made them a molten calf, and said, This is thy God that brought thee up out of Egypt, and had wrought great provocations, yet thou in thy manifold mercies forsookest them not, and the wilderness of the cloud departed not from them by the day, to lead them in the way, neither the pillar of fire by night, to show them the light, and the way wherein they should go. Thou gavest also thy good spirit to instruct them, and withheldest not thy manna from their mouth, and gavest them water for their thirst. Yea, 40 years didst thou sustain them in the wilderness, so that they lacked nothing. Their clothes waxed not old, and their feet swelled not. Moreover, thou gavest them kingdoms and nations, and didst divide them into corners, so they possessed the land of Sihon, and the land of the king of Heshbon, and the land of Og, king of Heshbon. Their children also multiplies thou as the stars of heaven, and broughtest them into the land concerning which thou hast promised to their fathers, that they should go in to possess it. So the children went in and possessed the land, and thou subduest before them the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, and gavest them into their hands with their kings and the people of the land, that they might do with them as they would. You know. And they took strong cities and a fat land and possessed houses full of all goods, wells, dig vineyards, olive yards, and fruit trees in abundance. So they did, and were filled, and became fat, and delighted themselves in thy great goodness. Nevertheless, they were disobedient, and rebelled against thee, cast thy law behind their backs, and slew thy prophets, which testified against them, to turn them to thee, and they wrought great provocations. So the Most High did all this good to our people, yet they still rebelled. And then when they rebelled, the Most High sent His prophets out there, and they pretty much ended up persecuting and putting to death a lot of the prophets. You know, so our people got judgments to pay for that still. You know, the blood of the prophets is still, including Yahweh Shai, is still on 2/3 of our people to this day. For their judgment. So hold on. I'm gonna just continue. Therefore, thou deliverest them into the hand of their enemies, who vexed them, and in the time of their trouble, when they cried unto thee, thou heardest them from heaven, and according to thy manifold mercies, thou gavest them savors, who saved them out of the hand of their enemies. But after they had rest, they did evil again before thee, therefore lettest thou them in the hand of their enemies, so that they had the dominion over them. Yet when they returned and required unto thee, thou heardest them from heaven, and many times did thou deliver them according to thy mercies, and testified against them, that thou mightest bring them again unto thy law. Yet they dealt proudly, and hearkened not unto thy commandments, but sinned against thy judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them, and withdraw the shoulder, and harden their neck, and would not hear. Alright? And that's the reason why, our people is a rebellious and stubborn house on to this day, man. Because you got the men of the Lord pushing this truth at a high volume, sit down lessons and being out there on the highways and hedges, uploading videos daily and weekly. And, our people still refuse to, hearken onto the counsel of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, And because of their pride, that's the reason why, they're going to be destroyed. So with that, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone, who taught us this truth, through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Raquad Quadash. And with that, Shalom.